practice with you guys. I mean, he played 2 games with not even a morning skate with the guys. What will it do now that he's had a chance to have a practice with you guys?
Yeah, I think it's nice for him to have that, and I think every day you're here with new teammates is big. I mean, there's lots of accumulation. You know, being today the first practice, there's significance there. Lots of reps with Rasmus, and lots of reps with more of our systematic movements. So there's no question that today was a nice day to have him integrate even more.
You know, you end up having defensemen who can play with each other, and they switch from time to time during the year. What's the process like when you get a guy from the outside and he's suddenly on your first pair? They're both really talented, but how do you get that to meld quickly when that's your top pair guys?
Well, you have 5 guys that are very familiar with how we want to play, and playing in tandem is a big part of it, and as a pair. And number one is Rasmus. He's probably our best communicator. He's obviously very confident. And confident to communicate. He's the loudest on the bench, whether it's communicating to the forwards on good or bad or what he thinks. Power play situations, he's the guy, and so to have Bo pair with him is nice, and it's also nice for Rasmus to see a guy that young guy that's as accomplished as Bo, but as talented as Bo, and I think it's going to be fun to see these two guys evolve a game together. They're both independently highly skilled players that now they play an up-tempo offensive, initiate offense movement game that I think paired up together, you sense and you feel the excitement they have of that. And there's going to be lots of, I'm sure, impressive stuff in regard to that with them as a pair. And equally, they're both very competitive guys, which is a real key in all of this.
You know, this is a business situation in hockey who everyone understands, but how concerned were you about Dahlin, just from the mental standpoint, after the Middlestat trade, given their relationship as it's developed on and off the ice?
Very concerned in the sense of with him and other guys. I mean, Mitzi was a very big part of our daily life around here, and he was our leading scorer. But everybody that's been around here has seen him and saw him, witnessed his work and commitment to this group and to his career to get better and better. For the team, obviously, he was a very effective player. So. And beyond that, a dear friend to all those guys in the room. So yeah, that's a very, very tough situation. It's and it can be very tough on the player coming in to replace that. Lots of players, in sports, it's tough to be part of a trade for a star player going the other way because of the pressure that's on you. But in this case, obviously, Bo has a lot of respect coming in for what he's done in his short time in the NHL, and then he has some guys in the locker room that know him very well, which helps. But yeah, it's not easy to see Middlestat go for anybody in that room.
When you're looking at left shot defensemen and deciding who's playing the right side, what do you, aside from conversations, is there anything you guys look at when it comes to data or even just anecdotal when you're watching them on the ice that really decides, okay, we're going to put this guy on the right side?
We'll continue to look at everything, data and video and situations to figure out what may be best as we go along. In the process, however, though, these guys are going to get better and better acclimated. And so you're almost going to watch it and say, okay, how can we help them be better knowing this is going to be the situation? You're going to have two lefties together in this situation. Sometimes you won't, sometimes maybe we'll switch a righty in there. But we'll continue to look at all and any data that's there and all and any video that we can, obviously time permitting, to progress. But I also think when you have two players that are confident in the NHL. They're not, they're young guys in the NHL, but their NHL confidence is higher than the average, and then their skill is higher than the average. You're going to get some chemistry built where they're going to show you some things that you can then take advantage of as well. So that's another factor that that we'll watch closely. How can we, how quick are these two together? How deceptive are they together? We know Dahlin's deceptive. We know, Bo is deceptive, and we watch some of his play. Now, how about it together? And so we'll continue to watch that stuff and do what we can to help them. But I also think they're gonna be innovating some things that we're all gonna be pretty happy with based on their confidence and their skill.
Casey leaving the group, I mean, was it important for just the guys to experience something like that? Because he was kind of like the last 3-4 years, he was kind of the first guy from that group to leave.
Yeah, I don't know about importance to experience it, but it is an experience. It's a young group that hasn't had lots of experience in things like this, and building rosters and improving rosters and targeting needs and advancing a team forward. And this is part of it. This is part of that equation. And so I think it's another experience gained for guys, in a room as you go through something like that. It's part of the business, and at some points it's a necessary part of the business. So, I think, having Bo is going to improve our team in a significant and different way, and that's part of it.
Don, what was your reaction to the Minnesota thing yesterday? They're in the same kind of spot as you are, 7-8 points out, needing to get 2x2 every night, and he does something that's kind of out there. I mean,
yeah,
what did you think of that?
It definitely out there, because I don't recall seeing it happen, not in the last recent years, but talked about, thought about, discussed. I think everybody's talked about it and discussed it. If I look at it in light of us, and we spoke on it this morning, every point matters, but are you willing to risk giving up 2 points right there? So, it's the risk reward, and then when I look at it in the context of what we just went through the other night, do you pull the goalie in overtime, saying you want to get 2 points, risk losing both of the points, because if you get scored on, you don't get any points when you pull a goalie in overtime. But in hindsight now, Upi went against McDavid in a shootout, Draisaitl in a shootout, and Nugent Hopkins in a shootout, and we won the shootout. So if we're in that situation, do you have confidence that you can win it in the shootout, or do you feel like we better get it done now? I will say the other thing to consider too is maybe who's on the ice, and it's not a penalty kill on the ice. So now you're weighing that as an odd. If you look across the ice and you see 3 guys that have never killed a penalty, and there's a minute and a half left, maybe you want to do that if your guys are fresh and they've known. So it is interesting. It is something that I think as you move down the stretch and every point matters, you have to look at something like that and make sure you're thinking about it.
Thanks, Don.